what's going, and I brought this up before, whatever's going on in your life, you're paid to call that game Sunday, or you're paid to pay that game. You can't be mentally cloudy, otherwise you're not going to have a good game. And I have been in those situations where I'm not exactly right to call the game, or if you're sick or you think you're going to lose your voice, because I'm crazy about, losing the voice. Opening kickoff of the Super Bowl, I blew out my voice on Hester's touchdown, and I was scared the rest of the game.
Really?
Yes. I didn't listen to that game for 1 year. I was so panicked about what it sounded like. That's a true story.
Wow.
I didn't even know.
I never knew that.
heard the highlight. I didn't want to hear it because I thought, oh, my God, biggest game of my life.
Just because you screamed so hard when that kickoff.
Yeah, but that was, they worked us like mules that week too. So, and then we had to get there. I think we got there at 6:30 in the morning to set up for TV because you had to be, because the NFL required it or whatever. And it was just a long day. I remember that, but I was exhausted by it.
Have you heard the Dungy story about the opening kickoff?
I have.
Dungy told us the story a couple times. Did you tell the story?
Well, you refresh my memory. Exactly
so
what he said about
all
kicking
week,
to him.
all
they
week,
weren't going to.
All week they prepared that they weren't going to kick to him, and then I think when I think the pastor or the someone, when they did the prayer or something in the locker room, something came over him before he talked to.
We're kicking to him.
and then he got talked into it, where he's like, forget it, we're kicking to him.
Well, the funny thing about that
divine intervention.
Yeah.
If you're ever fortunate to be in a booth to call a game like a World Series or whatever, like it's just different. There's no way it's not. It's not just another day.
Right.
You are just zoned in a way, and I was nervous. I mean, and there's a lot of stories. We don't have time to tell it here, but about the lead up to that day, and just for me emotionally, and but
should we do the thing today, Tyler? Should we do the thing today? I'm calling an audible like a quarterback would call an audible.
All right.
I know what you're
checking
getting
to.
at,
What play are you checking to?
Should we do the thing today since we have him here?
Oh boy, what are you getting me into here?
We do something called the Great Clips Greatest Moment, Top 25 Greatest Moments of the last 25 years that we've been counting down. The 25 greatest moments. Now, but we don't have his call, do we?
Let's save it for another day when you get the call. I'm
right.
Checking.
We don't want to do it.
I'm audible. I'm audible, and you're audible.
Okay, good. You're gonna check with me.
I'm check.
Now,
we're killing the play.
We should have him on tomorrow.
We're killing the play.
We'll do it. We'll have him tell the story. Go ahead. Go.
Anyway, so I just want to get flash bulbs popping, and just ease into it. Now, this is the best kick return man of all time.
You're not easing into anything.
Right, but I didn't consider for 1 second, since it never happened before or since, that you're returning the opening kickoff for a touchdown. So I just wanted to breathe. I just wanted to settle in. But that I could see it in my mind's eye. The kick sailed to the far side of the field, and he made this one cut up the middle. I knew from what I had watched that whole year he was gone. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, my God, he's going to score a touchdown on the opening kickoff, but I'm calling it. But I'm thinking it at the same time.
Oh, my God.
So how do you capture this moment, right? You just it's got to be organic. You just got to roll with it.
One thing is, don't think about it. Just do it.
Right. But I'm like, this can't be real. This can't be real.
Was it an out-of-body experience for you?
I said, that's exactly what it was. It's like the left side of your brain is telling you one thing, and the right side of the brain is actually calling the play. No, it felt like slow motion to me. It was weirdest moment of my career. I'm not lying.
The idea of them not kicking to him, was that the sort of vibe all week? Did we all just? I can't go back to that moment.
I don't recall that discussion.
But you probably assumed it. You and Tom you just assumed
maybe I don't recall.
Okay.
But I will tell you this: in the NFL Films version of the play. This is kind of funny when you think about it, because since I just admitted I never considered the idea that he would, probably because I felt they're really not going to kick to him. They're kick away from, do whatever, pop it up, whatever. Yeah. I go into this big, long statistical analysis of just how bad their kick coverage was. It's on the NFL Films version of the entire.
This is
call.
before the kick.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But yet, how come I didn't?
Right.
I'm not like my mind's not working right. So he returns it for a touchdown, and and immediately after that, Tom's going crazy. I mean, it's a goosebumper, right? There's no question. But he slaps me so hard on the ass. I mean,
on the ass.
Oh yeah, and he turned to me as if we're not on the air. He goes, "The game hasn't even started yet." I bet it's not. I mean, it's got to be. It's got to be on tape. And he's right. The game hadn't even started.
Incredible.
I love that was a great moment. Great moment. I mean, my God.
Let me ask you this: like, as you're sitting there today, and what you do for a broadcast, like we were just talking about this with Jim Nance, and Jim Nance has told us that a lot of times he'll go into these big broadcasts and he'll write down what he thinks will be a good catchphrase. And like what he just did for that Canadian Open is glorious and free.
Interesting.
From the Canadian national anthem, and the Canadian won for the first time in 50-some years or whatever it was. So he uses it then when that 72-foot putt goes in. He's got it written on a card instead of organically letting it come up. Will you workshop in your brain a nickname for DJ Moore?
No.
Or will it come up organically when DJ Moore does something for the first time this year?
No. Early in my career, I tried to think that way, and I realized it's a futile exercise. Because if you have to react just like a player. You can't be thinking. And Tom always says, if you think, you're beat. And I burned my hand on the stove one time for the NFC Championship game because, 06, because Tom and Jay Hilgenberg always would be saying, hear me now, believe me later. And I thought, Tom, so I approached him before that game against the Saints. I said, hey, if we win this game, if they go to the Super Bowl, do you care if I, and he starts laughing at me. He goes, yeah, I don't care. I didn't know where he got it from. Anything. We talk about the weather. Hear me now, believe me later, Jeff. He always said that. I always said it. So I said, hear me now, believe me later. The Bears I said something about, I think I said, to begin the migration to Miami, the Bears are going to the Super Bowl. And I get here the next morning in the parking lot, and somebody stops me and says, oh, Golick's shredding you on ESPN for hear me now, believe me later. I go, well, why would that be?
Yeah.
It's apparently from the Hans and Franz from Saturday Night Live. And he buried me. I felt like 2 cents. I go, Tom, is that where you got it from? I didn't watch that crap.
Oh.
But yeah, that's true.
Well,
so
I'm going to throw a wrench into this.
They did you dirty.
He did.
Don't you think, though, a combination of organic and
100%.
prepared might be okay?
Yeah. I'm not criticizing anybody who does.
Okay.
Because they believe.
So I'm not bright enough to come up with it as it. I need to prepare for it. I need to write down a few.
Yeah,
if I was doing it.
I mean, there's little. Listen, there are indicators like play. There's indicators in baseball. The word indicators all the time. For signs, right? You put a series of things you must hit, like and then here's my experience with that though. For example, Eddie Jackson. I can't remember if it was his rookie year, but it was exactly to the day that he got injured at Alabama that he returned a touchdown, interception for a touchdown. And I had it, but I forgot about it, even though I had it on my – because I'm not staring at my sheet.
Right, of course.
And so I'm like, God, I forgot about it. And it eats you up.
Kill you.
Oh,
I know you too.
These little things.
I remember that about you, that eats you up.
It'll eat me up for weeks. Hey, listen, early on in my career, the Bears would always put the game on a DVD for me. They would take the video department, they would take the call and put it over the TV copy so I like to evaluate. And then I'd have the cassette version and my cassette tape in the car. People who don't have know what cassettes are anymore. And I'd sit there and listen and just be shredding myself up and down, And there were many times I threw it out the window of the car. So
Literally,
yeah.
you would roll down the window and throw it out.
And you know me, I
Someone
can get a little.
They're like, what's this?
Yeah. Just wing it out of there.
Joniak's master.
Early,
What is this crappy play-by-play
So
guy?
I used to have these conversations with Judd Surratt.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Stop listening to yourself.
Yeah.
It's over.
For sure.
And Mike Emmerich, when he retired, he was on the station down the dial, so good. And I heard him, I'm like, oh my God, he kept saying he beat himself up early in his career. And I go, I think if you really want to be great, you always you're never happy, never satisfied.
Of course.
And he said something to this effect, hey, those words are somewhere by Mars by now. Who cares? And it crystallized for me. And I'm scrambling to find his number. I called him immediately after that show. We had a nice half-hour conversation. He knew who I was, which was unbelievable. And it was a great conversation about play-by-play.
Back to what we were just saying, though. It's like you didn't write down the word, I got to use the word ridiculous here.
No.
You had that organic.
That one for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Which is awesome.
Because I always say that word, and I always attach it with improper language for this radio show. Right. Because I say it all the time.
Yeah, that's great.
In that game,
mostly to Thayer off the air, probably.
In that game, though, on the second return, I just lost it because how could this be happening?
Right.
Weekly, and twice in one game.
Great call.
What are you doing? And I started giggling.
You would always say to somebody, you are effing ridiculous?
All the time. I still do.
And that's how that happened.
Yeah, I say that word all the time.
It's awesome.
And then, so that's I just blurted out. It was like this moment of clarity, like this guy is insanely good. You are ridiculous. So I leave the box. I looked up at the TV screen, I remember, and I also added, I go, Lovie Smith's jaw just literally dropped because Lovie was sitting there like this, because how could this keep happening? We haven't experienced this. So I get downstairs to get on the team bus, and Mike Mulligan stopped me. Oh, your call this, your call that. I go, what do you? Oh, I didn't think it was anything at all. What? So what? I said he's ridiculous.
Right.
Next morning, it's everywhere, and it's still to this day. Everybody.
It just worked in the moment.
It worked in the Hall of Fame. It's going to be in the highlight.
And I called him the Windy City Flyer in his first one against the Packers his rookie year, and Devin told me at one point that he had a mural in his house with the Chicago skyline, Windy City Flyer.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, we stopped talking about me.
It's
awesome.
This is great. I like, and I love, as much as people know you for the 23 years, I still think our fans on this radio station are still going to get to know you more personally. And that's what I love about this instead of news radio.
You guys make it fun. It's just, hey, we're storytellers.
Yes, that's what I love about you. You are a great storyteller. Really quick, news and notes on what happened today. Give us a lowdown.
I actually was charting a little bit, and so on Justin, for example, on the in the 7-on-7s, coach wants the ball shouldn't be on the ground, but it wasn't as it appeared. I thought the ball was on the ground more often, but it wasn't. I had him at 15-18 on 7-on-7 today, and maybe the throws weren't always on target, but what I liked, 10 different targets in those 15 throws. So they got to spread it around. And the use of the running back, I've said this, I think I said this here last week, get the running backs involved in the passing game because those are, frankly, easy yards after the catch, especially if the guys that have good contact balance like these guys do. You got Roshan Johnson now, a bigger back. Deontay Foreman is a beast. Have them break tackles, pick up some chain movers to ease you into the series a little bit or to extend a series, even on third down. So that was one. And then, the DJ Moore that's his man. Yeah. That's his man. It's very clear. And he's a professional route runner. He's a professional receiver. He's going to win some 50-50 balls. Again, they lined him up all over today. Nice grab by Cole Kmet today. I would say, on the opposite side of the ball, the defense is playing very excitable. And that's exactly what I want to see. I want to see confidence and swagger on defense. So they're making it hard on the offense. Second unit's making it hard on the first unit offense last couple of days. I like that energy and that juice. And, a lot's been talked about, like Justin Jones on our show on Bears Weekly before he went to the microphone yesterday saying the same.
Yeah.
He said the same things except for that. He made a great point. A lot of guys were on one-year contracts in the locker room, a conversation today, Robert Tunyon was talking about, hey, it's a going to get to know you session here. He goes, you don't want to go into a locker room, everybody's on their phone. And that's one thing that rattles Tom's cage about today's players. Everybody runs to their phone. Like all of us do. It's their job, but they're going to their phone too, checking up on things. And I did see that in the locker room a lot last year. Guys are on the phones. They're not like together like the old Urlacher days. I mean, it's a riot in there,
Right, dodgeball.
And I think that's a byproduct of young players knowing their place last year a little bit, be seen and not heard type of thing. But now they're second-year players. Now the new guys are coming in, and the veterans like DeMarcus Walker, man, I've heard a lot about his intensity. He is, he's still trying to prove himself as a every down a guy to be counted on as a pass rusher in his career, but this is his fourth team, but he's feeling the energy here. And I don't think veterans speak nonsense. I think they speak the truth. So those are some of the things I like. In the punt return game, which I think is still a very important aspect of things because we got some juice on this team. Velas is getting better. He's going to be pressed, though, by Tyler Scott, and Pettis is the best hands in the punt return game on this team by far. But, the juice from these new guys or Velas, that's a lot of team speed. You can see the speed, in my opinion. You're just here for the first time in a while.
Tyler Scott was impressive.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
The speed is on
and
both
more
sides
as
of the
well.
ball.
Yeah,
The
for
speed
sure.
is on both sides of the ball. I'd like to see if the ball's going to be tipped or whatever, and there's 50-50 balls, the defense has to win some of those too. So there were some missed opportunities at interceptions, I thought.
Jeff, awesome stuff.
You're
the best. Thank you.
Love
Appreciate it.
your
By the way-
energy and
By the way,
juice.
my mom, who turns 85 tomorrow, is 85 now, and she's learned how to use the app. She goes on YouTube, and she loves the Watto and Selvey show.
Oh, nice. She
Selvey.
Happy
she could
birthday.
call me
Selvey.
Selvey. That's fine.
And she that guy Selvey, okay, that's
the
number one.
whiny guy Selvey.
Tom seemed very mad the other day. Heard that one. And this is what she asked me. I talked to her for 45 minutes driving up here today, and she keeps asking me about Bear stuff. And she goes, so Claypool, what's the story on Claypool? Is he going to be able to protect Justin? I go, Mom, he's a wide receiver. Do you know what that means? Yeah, he's going to protect the quarterback. I go, no, he's going to catch balls. But I just think it's funny after all these years. Mom, if you're watching, if you're listening, she's loving.
Give her a shout out. There's
She's
a
loving
camera
the
right
show.
there.
Happy birthday,
Arlene
Mom.
Joniak,
Blow her a kiss.
85. Wow, we'll see you on Friday morning in Des Moines, Iowa. But yeah, she's digging the show and digging ESPN.
That is
1000.
awesome.